project, you're going to be doing this on paper if it's for the one class. And this is an example of what we would have done in my other class, because my other class, we did have a tessellation project that we were going to do in the computer, and we were going to make our own, but that project I took away at the very beginning of the semester when I decided to change the class. This way people are trying more tutorials instead of just worrying about finished products, because the most important thing here is learning and not necessarily always having a finished product. We wanted some, but we didn't need to have them all. So my other class, you are going to do the tessellation due to the fact that we can't complete some of the other in-course work. This is what we're going to do instead. It was a project for my classes at one point where we actually did the tessellation, and in some of my classes it's still required. So this is going to be now the new project, because we can't meet in person anymore. Yours is not going to be done on the computer because, well, most of you don't have the programs, I would assume. So yours is to be done on paper, but it still is the same exact theory. And this is what I would do in the classroom. I'd show you how to do it and then work from there. Hopefully, you guys can get this done. All right, so I'm going to hit create new. You guys are going to go get 2 pieces of paper. You could do it in your notebook. It's 9 by 11, I think, your notebooks. That should be fine. All right. Now you're going to get 2 sheets of paper. The first sheet you're going to cut your shape out on, and the other sheet you're going to paste it onto. So I'm going to have 2 different files, just like we're pretending we have 2 different pieces of paper in the physical world. All right, so on the first sheet of paper, you're going to draw a square. It has to be a square. Can't be a rectangle. So I'm going to draw a perfect square here. You can do that with rulers. All right. Now what I'm going to do is whatever I draw and you can't put it on the edge. If you put it on the edge, well, you could if you are doing this on a computer, but if you're doing this on a piece of paper, like I want you to do, then you're not going to be able to put it on the edge to make your square, because we need the sides. We need the top, bottom. We need all 4 sides. All right, so then you're going to draw a shape in the top half of your box. It could be any shape. That's what we'll do. All right, so whatever I paint in this part of the box, I want to make sure I finish it if I was doing it on the computer. That's funny. It's all messed up. All right. You want to go all the way to the edge. That's hilarious. I had to cut this. This is just bad. This is bad news up here if I was going to continue doing this correctly in the computer. There we go. Let me make sure it's actually lined. So what I'm going to do, because I'm doing it in the computer, I'm going to make sure this is lined up. You are not going to have to do this part if you were doing it on paper, because it's already automatically going to line up for you. But I just messed mine up, so that's not going to happen. Okay, now they're sitting on top of each other. All right, so whatever I draw up here, I'm going to have to repeat down here. The mistake a lot of people make when they're doing this on paper is they end up drawing the same shape, and then they end up kind of putting it in like this. And this won't work because it's supposed to be, it's like meant to be like a puzzle. And this piece will not fit into this piece. They're, pretty much the same. Or what people end up doing is something like this. Okay, reflect tool. So now it's identical. So they do almost like a mirrored image, and that's going to be wrong, okay? So whatever goes in the top has to come out the bottom. So in the computer, really simple for me. I just hit the Alt-Option key, and I click and drag, hold the Shift key so it stays in the same exact spot, and I just line it right up, and it's done for me. Now, that's not going to be so easy on paper. So on paper, my suggestion is this. You have to transfer the same shape to the bottom. So what I typically do on paper is I lay another scrap paper on top here. We're going to pretend this is my scrap paper, okay? I lay another scrap paper on top. You take your paper, put your paper on top, right? And then you can see through your paper to some degree. All right, so if you can't see through your paper, you're going to put both sheets of paper up to your window in your house. So you'd have to do it during the daytime. And you're going to trace the shape. So in my situation here, I change opacity here. So you're gonna have something that looks like this, okay? When you're holding your paper up to the window, you imagine there's a window there, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna trace this shape here. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oops. Is it the hit? Okay. So I'm gonna trace this all the way up to the edges. I'm then gonna hold the shift, well, for you, you're not gonna do this, but I'm gonna hold the shift key. I can't grab both of them at the same time. All right. I'm gonna group these two together. All right. So now if you're at home, this is your piece of paper, your scrap piece of paper. You laid it down on top of your box. You traced it all the way to the top. Now you're gonna flip your paper over. All right. And by doing so, you're gonna have what's gonna happen. Let me flip it so you can see what's gonna happen. All right, I'm gonna flip my paper over, and what's gonna happen is you're not gonna see this as well. Okay, so your paper is gonna then all of a sudden become, you know, more transparent. Let me see what layer that's on. So it's not going to be as transparent. That's what I meant to say. All right. And then this guy's going to drop below it because it's going to have to. All right. Then what you're going to do is you're going to color the back half with a pencil. And the pencil is going to act as a carbon paper. So we're going to do that real quick. You color in the back. Not the entire thing solid, but you're going to sit there with your pencil, color the entire shape that you have. The outline of it, the lines. Okay. You're going to scribble all over the back of the paper. And I'm going to try to find another example for you of this. All right. And then you're going to flip the entire thing over so that the scribble is now laying on top of your box. Okay. So we're going to pretend that that's what I did. I'm going to get rid of the scribble real quick. All right. We're pretending we flipped the paper over. Okay. And this is going to come back, and you are going to see this. And on the back of your paper, what's going to happen is you now have like a carbon paper. And you're going to move this guy all the way down. Oh, I had to flip it back. Shoot. And I had to flip it back. Forgot when I flipped it over. There we go. I flipped it back over. So the scribble's on the back half of the paper now. And on the front of the paper, you still have your shape that you drew. You're going to drag it to the bottom of your box. Okay, I'm going to drag it to the bottom of my box here. And then I'm going to trace this with a pencil. And when I trace it with a pencil, it will transfer onto my paper. So now whatever I put in the side, I'm going to have to draw on the other side. So let me see if I could do that. Like another brush thing. What I did is I just joined these. That's why I used the pen tool. Okay, let me move that back up a little bit. I'm gonna make sure. Okay. Whatever I have drawn over here, I have to go on the outside of the other side here. So I'm going to go Alt Option, hold the Shift key while I do that so it stays in the same spot. I'm then going to cut into this where if you were doing this on paper, you're actually going to cut here. Okay. And you're going to cut in here and you're going to cut around the outside. So then you're going to have a shape that the inside is cut out, but the outside stays. That's why you have to do this on a different piece of paper. All right, so for the computer, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to select these two because they're inside pieces. All right, and then I'm going to go to Pathfinder. And I'm going to subtract minus front. Let's see how that did. I didn't do that good because, all right, let me go back up a little bit. There we go, because this is such a thick line. Let me try it again. All right, so I'm gonna go to minus front, and you'll see I cut out these pieces and that piece. These two I'm going to join. So I'm going to actually hit join. That didn't work out at the bottom. All right, let me try it again. And the line just became thick. I'm gonna go up one more time. There we go. I'm gonna join these guys. And this is my shape. All right, this is my tessellation shape. This is how it starts. So then I'm gonna remove this from this piece of paper. So I'm gonna hit, and I'm gonna go to a whole new piece of paper if I'm doing this on paper. If I'm doing it on the computer, I can stay where I'm at. All right, if I'm doing this on paper, I had to take this and move it to my new sheet of paper. And I'm gonna take this shape and I'm going to trace it over and over and over again. So I'm going to pick up my shape, I'm going to get my pencil out, and this is a 9x11 sheet of paper, and I'm just going to trace it over all the way around, and then I'm going to move my shape over and do the same thing, trace it. But being that I'm on a computer, I don't have to do that. On the computer, I could just copy it over and over again. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. You're going to fill the entire page, even go off the page. Being that I'm on the computer, I'm selecting them all at the same time. I'm gonna move these guys over so they actually go off the page. Okay. And you don't have to have an outline on them. Or some people go back and they do a Sharpie marker. It's up to you. I'm gonna hold the Shift key and Command to select a bunch of these at the same time that I want to be the same color. Might want to put the black back on this one. And this is what you'd have to do. And you're going to hand paint yours. For the class down at Rowan, you're going to hand paint these. So you're going to use paint on a 9x11 sheet of paper. And then the other class, you're just to watch the video because we're not doing the computer project. But this is how we would start, you know, just the tessellation, and then you can manipulate it from there.